Breast cancer. I used to think of it as walkathons and pink ribbons until I had a breast cancer scare. Story time. I remember being nervous the first time I walked into the room and saw that big, huge machine standing in front of me and thinking to myself, what is this? I remember standing there half naked and intimidated, wondering what comes next. Is it as painful as I have heard it can be? Now 40 years old, I knew it was about to become a regular routine that I was going to have to endure at least once a year. So I thought to myself, I might as well bite the bullet and get used to it. I remember the embarrassment as the technician attempted to take my breast out from underneath my hospital gown and place it onto the machine's landing pad. For lack of a better medical terminology, it was cold and strange to say the least. But ready or not, here we go. The technician, thankfully a female, begins to lower the cold plastic top plate down onto the top of my breast. I braced for the pain. She pressed and pressed until it turned my once plump breast into a smooshed pancake. I was shocked and amazed at the same time. The pain, well, it was more uncomfortable than it was painful. It only took about 5 seconds as she raced behind the small wall divide and pressed the button that seemed to set off a loud beeping sound. And then just like that, it was over. But now it's time to turn to the side. She has to make sure she includes the area near the underarm. This feels unusual, but still not what I would call painful. Although everyone's pain tolerance levels are different. And ladies, be sure when doing a self-examination, you also check underneath your armpit for odd lumps. Okay, side view is now done. That wasn't so bad. Oh, yay, now we have to do the other side. Well, when it was all said and done, I was quite relieved. I received a call the next day. All was well and I do not have to return until 1 year later for an annual checkup once again. This is the experience of the majority of patients that go in for that first annual mammogram. But what happens when everything doesn't turn out perfectly? And upon your return home, you receive the phone call that we all dread. The nurse is speaking on the other end of the phone. The doctor will need you to come in to review your mammogram results. I'm thinking to myself, well, this cannot be good because in the past, they have always told me right over the phone that everything was fine. See you next year. Well, not this time. This time, you have to go in and speak with the doctor face to face. The doctor turns to me and says, well, we saw a cluster of concern on your scan, and we need to get a biopsy sample in order to do further testing. My heart drops. It was the bad news I was anticipating, but still was not ready to hear. A biopsy. What does that entail? Will it hurt? What happens if you find something? How long for the results? On and on, I had 1,000 questions. She hands me some packets and brochures. I assure her if they are going to cut me open and stick a needle in me, all while I am awake, I will surely need some prescribed Valium so that I can stay calm and relaxed for their procedure to be successful. My nerves were completely on edge. I go home, read all the packets and brochures, and end up more nervous than when I started. Why is this brochure explaining radiation treatments, chemotherapy, surgery, and what is this about breast reconstruction? Wait a minute. I was perfectly healthy a week ago before I walked in to have this annual mammogram. And now I'm reading brochures discussing one breast reconstruction or two. I'm not ready for this. What is happening? This cannot be real. I had never taken the time to really think about or realize all these women who are breast cancer survivors or just like me. One day, they walked into the doctor's office, as usual, living their normal lives. And the doctor told them exactly what I was hearing. We found something on your skin. And just like that, their lives were drastically changed forever. I went forward with the biopsy, and yes, I took the Valium. I was so nervous, and I don't remember much because of the medication. But this giant machine was totally different than the mammogram screening. This time, I was lying on a bed, high up, face down, with my breast falling down into a slot made in the bed. The open area of the bed beneath me was lower down, where the doctor and nurse were seated in order to complete the procedure. I know they made a small incision and took a sample of breast tissue out, and at the same time, placed a small chip inside as a marker. This way, in the future, when I receive another mammogram, they could see the place that had already been tested. They would know that specific area did not need to be retested. Fortunately for me, the biopsy came back benign. No cancer. But for so many women I know and love, it was not so simple for them. I cannot speak for all that happens on their journey. What I do know is that it takes a lot of courage, strength, and resilience to battle something you didn't even know was coming. I am in awe of your tenacity to remain strong, even in the face of such adversity. I pray you stay encouraged. Never, ever give up. And for the other women out there who have not had this experience, I hope this helps you ease some of the nervousness that I and so many others have experienced. Sometimes it is easier to brace when you know what is coming. I pray that each and every one of you stay encouraged. If you have something to share with the ladies, please leave it in the comments below. This experience also allowed me to begin to look at food, herbs, and nutrition in a different light. I was able to begin to think of ways I could prevent this experience and possibly a worse report from the doctor in the future. We will begin a conversation on ways that we can change how we think, eat, and run our household. Things we can do now to change the expected end of the future that we will help to cultivate and create. Instead of just existing or waiting for the inevitable bad news that will come in the future, let's get proactive and not stay reactive. Thank you for joining me on today's lesson, and I hope to see you again on the next one.